Your Highnesses, dear colleagues, leaders of international organizations, ladies and gentlemen, I'm deeply honored to join you here at the World Government Summit, and I extend my sincere gratitude to our hosts for convening this timely platform for dialogue, reflection, and collective action. We gather here in Dubai at a pivotal junction in global affairs, an era marked by rapid transformation, shifting geopolitical realities, and unprecedented interconnectedness. Our international system is evolving, and with it, the alliances that have long shaped relations amongst our nations are changing. The central question before us today is not whether global alliances will endure, but how they must be reimagined and renewed in order that they remain effective, inclusive, and responsive to the demands of our time. The alliances of previous generations were largely forged in response to geopolitical rivalries, military confrontations, and economic competitions between global blocs. They were often shaped by blocs' fears of influence. Today, however, humanity faces challenges that transcend borders and defy unilateral solutions, such as the accelerating threats of climate change, growing food and energy insecurity, global health emergencies and pandemics, violent extremism and terrorism, technological disruptions, fragile supply chains, and widening inequalities. These challenges demand cooperation, not as a matter of choice, but as an imperative. The alliances of the future must therefore be rooted in shared responsibility and based on our common destiny as a globe. The partnerships and alliances of tomorrow must extend beyond traditional diplomacy. They must become alliances of solidarity that are anchored in mutual respect, shared aspirations, and collective advancement. For us in Ghana, this vision is deeply familiar. Our nation was founded on the enduring principles of freedom, dignity, and international cooperation. From the Pan-African ideals championed by our first president, Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, to Ghana's contemporary role as a bridge builder in global diplomacy, we've consistently stood for unity over fragmentation. Indeed, Ghana has long shown that principled alliances can advance peace, prosperity, and stability beyond our borders. The future of global alliances cannot be meaningfully imagined without Africa. Africa is not merely a space of competition. It is a continent of solutions, opportunities, and rising influence. With the world's youngest population, vast natural resource endowments, dynamic innovation, and an expanding market of 1.3 billion people, Africa will play a decisive role in shaping the global economy of the 21st century. Partnerships of tomorrow and alliances must advance shared prosperity. We must work together to invest in renewable and clean energy, in modern infrastructure, in resilient food systems, in digital transformation, and above all, in human capital development. Africa welcomes global partners not merely to trade with, but to transform with through investments that build industries, strengthen supply chains, and create shared opportunities. Africa deserves a seat at the table in reshaping of a new global order. And this is why the Accra Reset, which convened in Accra, in New York, again in Davos, and soon will convene in Addis Ababa, offers a roadmap for the transition from aid and dependence to trade, investment, and global partnerships. To achieve the right alliances, Africa must reset itself. Accountable and transparent governance, respect for human rights, strong institutions, and selfless leadership are essential. New alliances with Africa must aim at adding value to Africa's natural resources. They must aim at granting Africa greater sovereignty and control of its natural resources. And that is why in Ghana we've established the Gold Board. That has yielded more than $10 billion in less than a year. Our medium to long-term goal as a country is to process and add value to our mineral ores and agricultural products, to our gold, to manganese, to bauxite, to lithium, to our petroleum products, to cocoa, oil palm, cashew, fruits, soya, cassava, and other raw materials. I'm happy to note that Ghana, UAE, and Africa Gulf partnerships are helping to shape a more connected and prosperous future and are becoming an important pillar of the emerging global order. Excellencies, remarkably, peace remains the essential foundation on which any development can be built. In West Africa, the growing threat of terrorism and instability in parts of the Sahel reminds us that security is indivisible. Ghana, through ECOWAS, remains committed to regional peace, preventive diplomacy, and democratic stability. Ghana seeks to demonstrate to the world that democracy can work. As part of efforts to rebuild and strengthen sub-regional cooperation across key sectors, to enhance resilience, restore confidence, and address the structural drivers of instability, I convened a high-level consultative conference on regional cooperation and security from 29th to 30th January. The conference, which brought together heads of states and government and key regional institutions to confront shared threats, forged a new consensus on collective security, counterterrorism, border cooperation, humanitarian response, and human-centered governance as foundation of the lasting stability in West Africa. It also reaffirmed our collective resolve to translate regional solidarity into concrete actions, measurable outcomes, and sustained peace for our people. Distinguished participants, undoubtedly the world is entering a new era in which artificial intelligence, biotechnology, and digital systems will redefine economies and societies. And yet, governance has not kept up with innovation. Ghana is making steady progress in digital transformation, from mobile financial inclusion to national identification systems and e-governance reforms. But the digital future must not be for a few privileged nations. Future global alliances must therefore ensure ethical governance of artificial intelligence, cybersecurity cooperation, technology transfer, and inclusive digital capacity building. We must ensure that innovation becomes a shared global good, not a source of new inequality. No alliance of the future can ignore the climate crisis. While Africa contributes the least to global emissions, it suffers disproportionately from climate impacts. Climate action must therefore be matched by climate justice, and the global community must honor its commitments on climate finance, adaptation, support, and equitable energy transitions. Ghana and Africa and AU-UAE partnerships can help in this regard. And so Ghana-UAE stands as a clear example of future-oriented global alliances, mobilizing a USD 30 million grant to advance climate action, biodiversity, protection, and inclusive development. At the height of global alliances lies multilateralism. While the post-war multilateral order and rule-based system have come under severe pressure, because of unilateral actions of some members of the global family, there still remains enough healthy tissue that we can culture to restore it back to good health. International institutions must become more representative, more responsible, and more equitable. Developing nations must have a stronger voice in shaping the rules governing trade, finance, climate action, and peacekeeping. Indeed, the legitimacy of global governance depends on fairness, and fairness remains the cornerstone of trust. Africa remains steadfastly committed to an international order based on dialogue rather than confrontation, cooperation rather than isolation, rules rather than coercion, and shared progress rather than zero-sum rivalry. As I conclude, our partnerships with the nations represented here, including those in the Gulf region, reflect our belief in economic diplomacy that delivers development, investment, and opportunity for our people. The future of global alliances is ultimately not about treaties alone. It is about the kind of world we choose to build, a world where cooperation triumphs over divisions, where partnerships serve development, and where nations rise together and not apart. I thank you for your kind attention.